Chamberlain, despite the appearance of a 19th century gentleman, had a keen mind, was a competent administrator who really could achieve in government. He came to office determined to get things done, to resolve rather than ignore problems. Today, appeasement is a dirty word, synonymous with insipid surrender. In the 1930s, it was the problem, not the enemy, that was appeased. Appeasement meant negotiation and compromise. Chamberlain was a determined and principled man who simply pursued what everybody, politician and citizen alike, saw as the sensible way to do things. Some historians see the German annexation of Austria in 1938 as the start of the countdown to World War II, all previous events being the undoing of the punishments laid upon Germany at Versailles. The union of Austria and Germany, the Anschluss, went beyond any restitution and was aggressively expansive. Nazism believed all German people should be members of the same state, and Hitler himself had been born Austrian. The Anschluss would increase Germany's base of population and industrial strength, making further expansion possible. It would be the first move in pushing Germany's frontier to the east, which Hitler believed Germany's destiny. The Austrian Nazis were in constant ferment and agitation against the Austrian government. There was a history of violence and assassination, of threatened and attempted coups. In 1936, Austrian Chancellor Schuschnigg had made what was ironically called a gentleman's agreement with Hitler. Concessions were made to the Nazis, yet the agitation continued. 2 years later, in February 1938, Hitler and Schuschnigg met again, and it was agreed that a Nazi sympathizer be made minister in charge of Austrian security. The Austrian government saw this as part of a gradual taking over of Austria and proposed a vote on Anschluss. With the reoccupation of the Rhineland, Hitler had bluffed his strength. Now German troops began to really mass on the Austrian border, to intervene, to prevent chaos and anarchy in Austria. For perhaps the first time in history, an international crisis was conducted over the telephone. Schuschnigg and the Austrians, who wished to retain independence, tried to rally support among the leaders of Europe. In a series of phone calls, they found no one would support Austria. Britain and France thought war not a price worth paying, accurately sensing that most Austrian people were not opposed to Anschluss. As German troops entered Austria, they were received with wild enthusiasm. Hitler as a hero. Austria was incorporated as part of the Third Reich. Hitler's plan had been to take control of Austria slowly, by the same methods as in Germany, by first using and then dissolving democracy, creating a puppet state. As he received the adulation of the Austrian people as a whirlwind of history gathered around Europe, perhaps even Hitler thought that the pace of time was accelerating towards a destiny that might not be in any man's total control. Next time, on World War II, The Complete History, it's the turn of the state of Czechoslovakia to face the might of Hitler's ambition and wrath. In the defining moment of the 1930s, Neville Chamberlain flies to Munich to resolve the crisis. The great powers of Europe meet to decide the fate of the small Central European country. The Czechs wait outside to be told their fate. Events that history judge as betrayal, as the definitive appeasement, are lauded by the peoples of the world. Chamberlain returns to London a hero. He promises peace in our time. Too soon, the climate of ecstatic relief and joy dissolves, as it's realized that Hitler will not keep his word. A grim realism seizes Europe as Britain and France begin to rearm. The eastern ambition and hunger of Hitler grows as his gaze falls upon the remainder of Czech lands. The nation of Czechoslovakia dissolves. All over Europe, there is a fatalistic certainty that war is coming. Poland is the subject of Hitler's mystical belief and territorial avarice in a move which shocks the world. Nazism and Soviet communism form an unholy alliance that seals Poland's fate. Enmeshed by alliances disguised as protections, France and Britain are committed to aid Poland, and war breaks out.